If I told you that the secret to perfect meditation has um, absolutely nothing to do with your mind and everything to do with the exact geometric angle of your kneecaps, you'd probably think I was missing the point of enlightenment entirely.
Right. It completely shatters that whole pervasive aesthetic image we all have. I mean, we've wrapped this practice in centuries of really thick mystical jargon.
We really have. And, well, welcome to today's deep dive, where we are doing something incredibly fun for you. We're taking that whole mystical aesthetic, the incense, the gongs, the silent figure on a
And
mountaintop.
we're just throwing it right out the window.
Exactly. Today, we are looking at meditation strictly through the cold, hard lens of physics, biology, and structural geometry.
Yeah, so we're pulling from some highly analytical excerpts from chapter 10 of a book called The Science of Meditation. And the mission here is to completely demystify the mechanics of what is actually happening to the human machine, when we try to meditate.
I just love this approach because it makes it instantly accessible for you. Like, you don't need a secluded mountain retreat.
Yeah,
You just need to understand the structural engineering of your own limbs.
definitely.
And to kick things off, we really have to establish the core premise of this text, the foundational rule that everything else sits on.
Right, so the text points out a surprisingly simple ultimate goal. The objective is literally just to maintain the stillness of the body, allowing your physical form to essentially sleep while your conscious mind stays awake.
Body asleep, mind awake.
Exactly. That is the fundamental biological nature of the practice.
And the text makes a really crucial distinction here. All those different postures, the breathing exercises, the very specific hand positions, these aren't the magic themselves, right?
No, not at all. The book actually calls them convenient methods.
Convenient methods, I love that.
Yeah, they're just practical, mechanical techniques developed to help you achieve that single ultimate goal, just keeping the physical machine completely still so it can power down.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Because if the ultimate goal is just physical stillness so the body can sleep, we have to start at the absolute foundation of any physical structure, the floor.
Right, and this is where we get into the pure physics and geometry of stillness. Because your center of gravity is fixed when you're sitting down, your physical stability is entirely dictated by the area of your base.
So it's basically architecture.
It is. That's where the geometry of your specific cross-legged pose determines if you're actually meditating or if you're, well, just fighting gravity.
Let's look at the geometry of the three common sitting postures the text breaks down. Starting with the famous one, the full lotus.
Right, the classic pose.
Yeah, this is where both feet are placed on the opposite thighs, with the soles facing up.
So geometrically, what's happening in full lotus is that both of your knees are driven firmly into the ground. If you draw a line connecting your two knees and your hips, you get this wide, really solid equilateral triangle.
With all three sides roughly equal.
Exactly. The base area is completely maximized, creating an incredibly stable structure.
But then there's the easy pose,
Hmm.
which honestly feels ironically named once you look at the mechanics.
Oh, for sure.
Because this is how most of us naturally sit cross-legged, right? Like kindergarten style.
Hmm.
Both feet are on the ground, tucked under the opposite legs. But my knees, they're just suspended in the air.
Yeah, your knees aren't touching the ground at all, meaning your base of support shrinks dramatically. Instead of an equilateral triangle, you form this smaller isosceles triangle between your feet and your hips.
Just a tiny little base.
Right, and the text points out that if you overlay these shapes, the entire isosceles triangle of the easy pose fits completely inside the equilateral triangle of the full lotus.
Wow. And obviously a smaller base means way less stability. Then you have the half lotus right in the middle where one knee is on the ground and one is just sort of floating.
Which just results in an asymmetrical, medium-sized base.
It kind of makes me think of a wobbly cafe table or playing Jenga.
That's a great analogy.
Right. Like if I'm sitting in the easy pose with my knees floating in the air, I might feel like I'm sitting perfectly still. But my body is actually doing this secret isometric workout.
Oh, 100%.
My core and my legs have to constantly fire off these tiny micro muscle adjustments just to keep my torso upright and balanced on that tiny triangle.
And that is the absolute crux of the issue. If your nervous system is constantly sending proprioceptive signals to your muscles to make those micro adjustments just to keep you from falling over, your body is inherently not asleep.
So you're violating the primary biological rule of meditation.
Exactly. You aren't resting, you are balancing.
But full lotus requires wild flexibility. I mean, most people, myself definitely included, cannot twist their legs like a pretzel to get those knees flat on the floor.
It's really hard on the joints.
It is. So if I'm stuck in the least stable easy pose, am I just doomed to wobble forever?
Well, no, because the text offers an intensely practical remedial life hack for this exact anatomical problem.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, if your knees are suspended, creating that extreme instability, you just artificially expand your base.
How so?
The book suggests taking 2 small sponges or firm cushions and wedging them snugly between your feet and your floating knees.
Oh, you just build the floor up to meet your legs.
Exactly. You create the stability artificially.
Yeah.
Your muscles finally get the signal that they don't have to do the balancing work anymore, and your lower body can actually go to sleep.
You're basically engineering the physical stillness rather than forcing it through sheer willpower.
That's exactly it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hacked my geometry. My base is rock solid with my little sponges. But last time I tried this, my lower body was fine, but my mid-back and my shoulders started screaming after 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, the upper body trap.
Right, because stability clearly doesn't mean pain-free, and pain wakes the body up just as fast as wobbling does.
Which is why a stable base is useless if the upper half of the structure is strained. So the text introduces a technique for the upper body called chest in and back straight.
Okay, back straight makes intuitive sense. You are lengthening the spine, making sure you aren't slumped over compressing your diaphragm. But chest in, that sounds contradictory to everything my physical therapist tells me about good posture.
Right. We're so conditioned to hear chest out, shoulders back. But the text is very clear that chest in is not slouching.
Okay, so what is it then?
It's a specific alignment where your scapula, your shoulder blades, are allowed to slide slightly forward and inward.
Like a shrug.
Sort of. Imagine a very slight shoulder shrug, but pulling the shoulders toward the front of the room instead of up toward your ears.
I'm trying it right now, and it feels pretty bizarre when you first do it.
It does feel unnatural at first, but the biological reasoning behind it is fascinating. The goal is the most relaxed, energy-efficient position for your upper body. And think about what posture the human body naturally adopts when you are in your deepest, most relaxed state of physical rest.
You mean when we're asleep?
Exactly. Think about how you sleep. You rarely sleep completely rigid on your back with your chest puffed out like a soldier.
No, definitely not.
Humans naturally curl slightly and sleep on their sides. In that position, your shoulders naturally roll forward and inward. That specific geometry is your body's default position of maximum muscular relaxation.
Oh, wow. And the text even notes this is why ancient lying meditation methods were traditionally done lying on the side, right? Mimicking that exact sleep geometry.
Yeah. You see, this biological principle applied universally across different disciplines. When you sit to meditate, your hands are typically crossed in front of your lower abdomen or resting softly on your knees. They aren't hanging straight down at your sides.
Because bringing your hands to the front naturally pulls your shoulders into that chest in alignment.
Bingo. The text also points to standing meditation, Zanzhuang in Chinese practice.
One where you hold the invisible ball.
Yes, exactly. The classic posture involves holding your hands up in front of your chest as if you are hugging a large invisible ball. Tai Chi uses this exact same framework. It's an engineered physical trigger designed to force the upper body into that naturally relaxed chest-in geometry.
Okay, but here is where the biology of this gets a little trippy for me.
Oh, the reverse causality.
Yes. The text mentions this concept of reverse causality. It explains that if you meditate long enough and your brain reaches a deep enough state of delta wave relaxation, your body will actually slump into this chest-in, back straight posture automatically.
Right. The deep neurological state causes the relaxed physical posture. That's normal biological causality.
But the book claims we can run that software in reverse. Like, even if I haven't achieved that spontaneous, deep, meditative brain state yet, I can consciously fake the physical posture.
You can. By actively pulling your shoulders forward and inward, you can use the physical shape to trick your nervous system into the relaxation response.
That is wild.
It's a physiological feedback loop. Your brain constantly monitors your body's position to determine if it should be alert or resting. If you adopt the exact physical shape of deep, safe slumber, you send a powerful parasympathetic signal back up to the brain.
You engineer the cause by adopting the shape of the result.
Beautifully put, yes.
Okay, so my structure is perfect. I've used sponges to lock my base. I'm using reverse causality to fake my upper body into a pain-free side-sleeping mimicry. I'm completely physically stable.
Ready to go.
Right. But the next logical hurdle is time. Once I'm sitting here perfectly aligned, how long is this actually supposed to take?
Time efficiency is heavily prioritized in the text. Now, for absolute beginners, an earlier chapter recommends short, frequent sessions just to build the habit. But for experienced practitioners wanting true efficiency, we have to look at the physiology of how our nervous systems actually downshift.
And the text brings in a very modern analogy here, a smartwatch sleep monitor, which really makes the math undeniable.
Yeah, it's brilliant. When you go to bed, you don't hit the pillow and instantly drop into deep, restorative REM sleep.
I wish.
We all do. But there's a physiological transition phase. Your brain waves have to shift from beta to alpha and eventually down to theta. Your metabolic rate has to slow down. The text calls this the warm-up period in meditation.
Meaning, every single time you sit down, your brain requires a mandatory chunk of time to transition from an active, waking state into that deep, meditative sleep state.
Exactly. Let's use the smartwatch data analogy. Let's say your watch tracks your heart rate and movement, and it reveals it takes you exactly 20 minutes of light rest to transition into deep rest.
Okay, so 20 minutes is my biological warm-up tax.
Right, so if you keep that 20-minute warm-up in mind, and you decide to meditate for 30 minutes before work, you spend 20 minutes just warming up.
Which leaves me with only 10 minutes of actual high-quality deep meditation.
Now, if you do that twice a day, 2 separate 30-minute sessions, you've invested an hour of your time. But you had to pay that 20-minute warm-up tax both times.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Out of 60 total minutes, you only yielded 20 minutes of deep rest.
But if I combine them, one continuous 60-minute session, I only pay the warm-up tax once.
Leaving you with 40 solid minutes of deep, high-quality rest. For the exact same total time investment of 1 hour, you doubled your deep meditation time.
It's the exact same logic as a daily commute.
Yeah, it really is.
Like if I want to work out and it takes me 20 minutes to drive to the gym, doing 2 30-minute gym trips in one day is a terrible idea. I'm wasting all my time sitting in traffic. I should just drive there once, stay for an hour, and double my actual workout.
Exactly. The longer you maintain the continuous state, the more compounding the physiological returns become. Studies show the cellular and neurological benefits of deep rest far outweigh light rest. So efficiency basically demands longer, continuous sessions.
Wait, I feel like I'm caught in a trap here.
What do you mean?
Well, you're telling me I need 60-plus minutes for biological efficiency. But earlier we talked about the full lotus being this incredibly tight, rigid structural lock. If I lock my legs into that geometry for an hour, my knees are literally going to explode.
Yeah.
The math and the biology are completely at odds here. Is the text just contradicting itself?
It feels like a paradox, for sure. And this is where the biology severely pushes back against the math. The text is actually unflinching about the physical damage you can do chasing longer sessions.
Especially if you rigidly adhere to that perfect full lotus posture. All right?
Exactly.
Because the anatomical breakdown of the joints in the text sounds like an absolute medical nightmare.
The mechanics are genuinely alarming. When you force your legs into the full lotus, you are violently rotating your hip joints outward. This puts immense destructive pressure on the synovial capsule of the hip.
And the knee joint is a hinge. It's designed to swing back and forth, not twist side to side.
Right, but in the full lotus, the tibia, your shin bone, is forcibly rotated. This twists the knee joint to an extreme degree, using the patella, the kneecap, almost like a fulcrum squeezed to its absolute limit.
Which is painful just to think about.
And crucially, this extreme torsion compresses the blood vessels supplying the lower leg, physically cutting off your own circulation.
Wow, just completely pinching it off.
Yes. And you're doing all this while twisting your ankle joints under the dead weight of your opposite thighs. It's basically a recipe for permanent joint destruction.
And I assume even that unstable easy pose with the floating knees creates an unnatural twist if you hold it long enough.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
The fundamental biological rule the text establishes is that you must never maintain any posture for an extended period if it puts excessive pressure on muscles, bones, blood vessels, or joints.
So how do we actually solve this? I mean, I need long sessions for my brain, but long sessions will destroy my joints.
The solution provided by the text is wildly liberating, honestly. The answer is to constantly, unapologetically rotate your methods and your postures.
Really? So I don't have to be a statue on a cushion?
Not at all. The text explicitly states you can meditate sitting in an ergonomic office chair. You can sit on your couch. You can meditate while kneeling, while standing, or even while lying completely flat. The geometry is totally adaptable to the time requirement.
The most surprising part of the text for me was about movement. It explicitly states that uniform linear motion, or slow non-uniform motion, completely counts as meditation.
Yes.
It can achieve that exact same stable, peaceful brain state.
Because if we remember the core premise from the very beginning, the goal was never to freeze the body like a rock. The goal was to let the physical body run on autopilot so the mind could rest awake.
And motion can be autopilot.
Think about how your nervous system processes sensory input. It relies on habituation. Like
Yeah.
when you hear the hum of a refrigerator, your brain eventually tunes it out because the input is predictable and safe.
Right, the background noise just fades away.
Exactly. And if your body is in uniform, steady motion, like a slow rhythmic walk, your nervous system habituates to that predictable rhythm. The body is moving, but it's an automatic motion that requires zero conscious waking attention from the higher brain.
So theoretically, if uniform linear motion counts, I could be meditating while riding the subway because the train is moving uniformly and my body is just passively swaying with the rhythm.
A train ride is a perfect example. A slow walk through a park is another. The text insists that the ultimate goal isn't to chase some fantastic mystical hallucination or achieve a temporary unity of heaven and humanity.
Right.
The goal is integrating this precise state of calm into your mundane daily life. Anytime, anywhere, in any posture.
Allowing your conscious mind to stay calm and present, completely untethered from whatever the physical machinery happens to be doing, it really strips away all the dogma of what a real practitioner looks like.
It really does. And the text actually ends with this brilliant little story that encapsulates the entire philosophy. It involves two smokers attending a strict meditation retreat with a master.
Oh, I love this story. It's the perfect illustration of this mindset shift. So these two guys both really want to know if they can smoke during the retreat. The first smoker goes up to the master, bows respectfully, and asks, "Master, can I smoke while I meditate?"
Right.
And the
Well-
master sternly replies, "Absolutely not. Meditation requires complete focus. You cannot be distracted by a cigarette."
A very traditional, rigid response focusing entirely on the physical action.
Exactly. So the first guy goes back defeated.
Mhm.
But the second smoker thinks about it, completely changes the framing, and approaches the master. He asks, "Master, how can I meditate while I smoke?"
And the master lights up and says, of course, if you can practice mindfulness and meditation even when you are smoking, that is brilliant.
It's so good.
It perfectly shows how the physical action, whether sitting in a lotus pose, riding a train, sitting on a couch, or smoking a cigarette, is entirely secondary. The primary mechanism is where you place your mind.
Right.
If you are rigidly attached to the physical posture, whether out of guilt or dogma, you are entirely missing the biological point of the exercise.
It's just about maintaining that internal stillness regardless of the external shape of the body. Like by understanding the structural geometry to stabilize your base, utilizing the reverse causality of relaxing your upper body, and doing the biological math of your warm-up time, you can custom design a practice that actually works for your specific anatomy.
Without destroying your knees in the process.
Exactly. You utilize the physics and the biology to serve the mind, rather than forcing the body to suffer for an aesthetic.
Absolutely.
And that leaves us with one final thought for you to carry into the rest of your week. We've established that the mystical barrier is an illusion, and that the ultimate physical secret to this practice is just uniform, predictable motion. Letting the physical machine run on an autopilot rhythm while the mind stays completely present. If that is true, could your most boring, repetitive daily chores actually be the perfect, undiscovered deep meditation practice you've been doing all along without even realizing it?
Oh, I love that.
Think about sweeping the floor or washing the dishes in a slow, rhythmic repeating circle. Your cerebellum knows the physical motion perfectly. It requires absolutely zero conscious thought. The machine is completely on autopilot. So the next time you find yourself standing at the kitchen sink with a sponge in your hand, maybe don't rush through the task just to get to your real relaxation time on the couch. Just sink into the physical rhythm. Let the body sleep while the mind wakes up. You might just find the exact stillness you've been looking for.